Being a person very spiritual and of great faith, I'll be the first to say it's hard living in a world surrounded by so much uncertainty. It's discouraging sometimes looking around and seeing all the chaos and all the confusion. It's frustrating. No matter how much you believe in God, no matter how much you believe in a higher power, no matter how much faith you think you have, there are times when we face with situations and we feel faithless. We feel like our faith is breaking. We start questioning all over again because it's the overwhelming flood of anxiety that takes us under, and then that panic because we're drowning now. And that's the thing to remember. That's the thing that I have to just consciously remind myself of whenever I find myself in that place, struggling and battling all over again. It's like a fight for faith all over again, because one situation now will show us that we don't have enough faith like we had for this last thing. But the thing about it is, as we gradually go through things, we develop more and more faith. We've all been dealt a measure of faith, so we have to continually experience life and work through these encounters so that we are stretching still to meet that measure of faith. And faith can be like a rope. A rope it's a rescue. You throw a rope in the water and drown in water, and somebody grab hold to it and pull them out. They can be in a dark hole or a pit or something. You could throw a rope down in there sometimes and pull them out. But sometimes, like I said, things can be coming so fierce, so strong. And the waves and the winds and everything, they're so powerful. And we can be holding on and then get to that point where it feel like, we slipping. Can't hold on anymore. Or the rope is starting to break. But I remember an old spiritual my grandmother used to listen to called Reach Beyond the Break. And I can't remember the name of the artist, but I remember right before the song started, the man would give a testimony about how a child was drowning in a lake, and his father was on the outside, but he couldn't swim. And so his dad is panicking and screaming to his son, just hold on. And he looked and he saw a old rope laying around, and he threw it in there to his son, and he said, grab it. And he's going to use that to pull his son back to safety. And his son, he's struggling, he's fighting, and he's saying, Daddy, the rope is starting to break. And sometimes we struggling and we fighting in these drowning waters of life, this ocean of life. These waves, they're powerful. And it feels like our faith rope is breaking. And the man yelled back to his son, and he said, son, just reach beyond the break. He said, don't let go. Reach beyond the break. And so that's my message. Short and sweet, very simple. Reach beyond the break. When you feel like your faith rope is starting to break, your hands is starting to slip. Hold on. Hold on. Because that's what faith is all about. We can't see. It's uncertainty. It's unknown to us. We have no idea. So we have to just trust and believe. If we believe in a higher being, a higher power. I don't believe in a God man. I believe in a God power. And I have to believe, even with all that I've already come through because of this power. It still gets discouraging, but that's what helps me through the discouraging times. Holding on to what I've already come through, to that faith I've already have, the things that have already developed. This amount of faith, and I have to use this, what I have now, to make more, to increase it. Ever increasing faith. Without the challenges of life, without these pressures, without obstacles, without opposition, we cannot develop faith or any fruits of the Spirit. So seeds go in the ground. They don't just need sunlight and water, but they need dirt. We need dirt also in life to help us grow, to help those seeds that are in us grow and blossom beautiful things in strong faith. We become faith giants, immovable, unbreakable, unstoppable, and unshakable, standing strong. The race is not just given to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, but the one who can endure through until the very end. So we just got to hold on to that. Hold on to what we already know. Hold on, because what we've already come through. We all know our own stories. We all know what we've already been brought through. That's why we even have the faith that we have now. So that's what we have to always remember. Revert back to that. And when these powers and these forces of darkness try to infiltrate us and try to overpower us and overtake us in our minds by telling us that we going down, we ain't going to win this one. That's not true. That's not true, because we already know. We just got to keep believing, keep standing strong, keep holding on. We can't quit. It's not in us to quit. We got to keep this thing going because we're here. We in it. We existing. Warriors, rise. Rise up. Faith fighters. That's what it's all about. There's so much stuff that'll come to knock you out of position, throw you off course. And I like to think of this time now that the whole world is facing and being forced with new challenges and changes. And it's not comfortable. It's not fun. It's not nice. But that's, in essence, that's the beauty of it, because it's impossible to grow without change. And the fact that we are all now summoned to it, That's mighty. That's mighty because that's a great and higher power saying, this is my timing for all mankind down there. So there are different things happening with each and every individual soul on the planet right now. Just according to who you are and where you are. But we're all in this. So there's change happening with all of us. And when the dust settles from this, we'll be repositioned, we'll be realigned, we'll be recharged, we'll be reset. We'll have a new growth, we'll have new insight, new perspective, we'll be awakened, a freshening, all kinds of things. All kinds of things. But we got to hold on right now. Got to hold on. Just stay buckled up. Stay seated in the seatbelt. Follow the guidelines. Faith is not foolish. I've heard some different stuff and saw some different things on the people send me different stuff, and people are saying faith over fear, and they don't have to use sanitizer and all kinds of things like this. Well, I believe in faith over fear also, but faith is not foolish, and the Bible says faith without work is dead. So just because you have faith down here, you need to follow guidelines. Because work needs to follow work. Ignites faith. Work appoints faith. When you start doing something, that's when faith gonna get out there and say, okay, I got you. But to be foolish mindset like that, first of all, it's cleanliness is something that should already be a part of our daily routines. We should already be following that manner of being clean. Now we have this unseen enemy going around, and there are extra guidelines and precautions that need to be taken. And I would advise each and every individual to do that. Simply because you can be a believer, you could be a faith giant, and you could still die from foolishness. There's a story, many people have heard this little story about the man of God, the man of faith. Suddenly, a vicious storm came and it flooded everything, and he was out here holding on to something about to drown, and he's calling for God to help. And God sent 3 different forms of rescue, I believe, a helicopter, a boat, and somebody on a raft or some 3 different forms of rescue. And he turned each one down and said, no, I'm waiting, God gonna save me. Well, long story short, he drowned and died. He gets into heaven and he's like, God, what happened? Why'd you let me die like that? And God said, I send you 3 different forms of rescue and you turned them down. So do we think God is a man that's going to come and leave the throne? No, this is a power. It's everywhere. It's an energy. Faith, all these things. Like, no, please don't be foolish. Follow guidelines. Because then you take the extra measures, and then after that, hey, whatever happens is beyond your control. But do your part. Do your part in the natural, and then faith says, okay, here comes some superstar. I put some super on your natural. It's about wisdom. And if you are a believer and a Bible believer, nowhere in the Bible does it say to be foolish. It says you use wisdom. Wisdom, understanding is everything. Wisdom, knowledge, it's all they getting the knowledge of in Proverbs, I believe Solomon is saying these things. And all they getting the knowledge, get the understanding. These things lead to wisdom. And we need to know, we need to exercise wisdom at all times. Be sober-minded and vigilant. The enemy will do all kinds of things, use all kinds of trickery. And it's all through a mindset. And we have no idea. So we got to put the ego in the headlock. Just because you are righteous or a believer and spiritual and have faith and all this stuff, no, don't be foolish. Because these things alone, just saying, yeah, I have faith and I trust and I believe, no, you still need to do things to cover yourself. We all on this stage here, we all have a role. We all have a play, a position. Let's not fall asleep on the post. We don't let us take ourselves out the game on the technicality of being foolish. Oh yes. Oh yes. It is what it is. We'll trust all things working together, but we still take initiative. We have a part in our own lives. We want things to go a certain way in our lives. We want people to do and be what we want them to be and all this kind of stuff. But we still have a part to play. We still have a role to play. All this stuff is lined up with faith because it's all seed. See, it all started with this, faith was just requesting God. The word says, just give me a little mustard seed. It's very, very, very tiny, a mustard seed. And so this power is saying, just a mustard seed. So now we can put that into, many different visualizations as far as this seed. But your actions are seeds. Your words are seeds. Thoughts are seeds. The Bible says, just as a man has thought it, so has he done it. So all these things line up with seeds. The book of Genesis says, Genesis 8, it is 8 and 20 something, I believe, somewhere in there. As long as the earth remains, it's always going to be seed time and harvest. And then over in Galatians, somewhere chapter 6, it's talking about God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man sow, that will he reap. Again, that's a seed. Whatever we sow, that's what we're going to get back. So if we're going to sit here and not really do anything, just say we have faith, and we're not working with faith, we're not putting any work, any action with that, we're not really going to get anything back. And you can still be a believer. And you can still say you're full of faith. But this is a principle, and it's not going to change. It's a spiritual law. It's not going to change. So if you don't follow this concept, if you don't live by this principle and apply these concepts, it's not going to happen. Do we think that the farmer here puts tomato seed in the ground and squash come up? No, that's not how it happened. Do we think that this man plants a seeds in the ground for a harvest and just put them in there, never go out and water, never go out and make sure nothing's choking up the ground and, never tilling the ground, tending to it? No. Because once you plant the seeds in there, now you have to protect them. You still have to nurture them through this process so that when the end of the season comes and it's time for the harvest, the production is plenty. It's great. And so be it with the souls, the garden, the soul garden. Whatever is going to be planted there, that's what's going to come out. Why it's so powerful for us to be positive and think positive. And these are the nuggets in the scriptures These are the little clues. Very, 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 they're embedded in there subliminally, but still in plain sight. Renewing of the mind. Don't conform, but be transformed by the renewing of a mind. Paul said, whatever things are lovely, good, pure, true, pleasant, meditate on these things. Why? All this stuff is talking about covering the mind. In Ephesians, where it's talking about putting on the full armor, it says put the helmet. A helmet covering the mind. Again, you got to cover the mind. So it's got to stay positive because these things are part of the mix now, the potion. To get all these things work, you get all the right mixes. That's like the scientists in the lab. They stay in there for hours and hours and hours, days, weeks, months, years, working on something, because they got to get it right. Test it, that's not right. Or they got to redo all of it over again and keep testing it until they get it right. This is like a soul science here. It's the same thing. Faith, it takes things to work faith. Yes, it says all things work together, but that don't mean every right thing is working, every good thing is working together. So when it's beyond your control, you got to do everything on your part and then just stand still and let your faith work from there. But when you are doing things and sowing seeds and planting these seeds and then harvest is coming, don't question why. Because think about what have we done. I used to play the war it was me all the time until the Almighty Power showed me something one day. Sit yourself down and stop whining about why is this happening and why is that happening and why you going through this. Because I was still at this time in the shadow of darkness. I was coming out of darkness. See, I had been in total darkness and now I was finally inching my way. And now I was in the shadow of darkness. Because see, when you're in a shadow of darkness, that still means there's a little light somewhere. You know, at night when you're walking down the street and the street light's on, it's dark, but you can still see a shadow because of the street light. So I was in a shadow of darkness. So I was still kind of covered up under this victim blanket. And the Holy Spirit started showing me stuff. Say, yeah, I know what happened to you. Yeah, God know how you got here. But while you was here, see, you still did things. I understand it was out of ignorance, but the word don't change. Yeah, the wheels of life are what they are. The laws are what they are. They don't change just because you didn't know. That's why we perish for a lack of knowledge. And so God started showing me you have to still reap a harvest from these seeds that you've already sown when you were in darkness. Now it's going to be a challenge doing this transition because this transformation is hard. It's a stripping, it's a renewing. Okay? Because now new wine can't go in old wineskin. So now we got to change these skins. And that's like a surgery. That's going to hurt. But it's a process. And that's what I had to understand. It was painful. That was a truth there. It was painful. But I needed that. Because it was time for me to start healing now. I had to come out of this place. I've been down, wounded man. And it was time to start getting some medicine and some healing for these wounds. Come out of this darkness. I didn't want to die there. So I had to surrender to truth. My grandmother used to say the truth will set you free, but it also kill you if you ain't ready for it. So once I decided I was ready for it, still didn't mean I liked every truth that I started coming into awareness of. It didn't mean I liked it because it hurt. It hurt. but it was for my good. It was for my good because this power taught me I knew nothing, trained me, built character, integrity, showed me why these principles were important. I formed and established my beliefs based on these truths because of the understanding, looking at my own life as examples, and the Holy Spirit ministering to my heart. And just, I remember feeling just a compassion flooding over me when this understanding was enlightening me. How I started to weep because I could really see it, but I was also feeling it in my spirit. Remember when you did this. Now this feeling that you feel because this is happening to you, that's how that person felt. Another example, I was so angry with my sister. I blamed her for this tragedy. I blamed her for my mother's death. I blamed her for everything. I didn't understand why she couldn't just, the first time, years prior, why she left, why she went back. If she just wouldn't have went back, why she kept going back. I didn't understand it. But when I met my ex-husband, when I met him, and when the abuse started, it didn't dawn on me right away. But not long after, it was like a suddenly I understood how my sister got tangled up like that. I understood why it wasn't so easy to just walk away, to get away from it. Not when a person gets your mind. Not when a person controlling you because of your weaknesses. Not when they've overpowered you like that. I understood it then because I could feel it. And I had somebody steal something from me. So much stuff been stolen from me, and I would just cry. And why people treat me, especially when it's somebody who you know and think they care about you, it's supposed to be a friend and all this stuff. And I'm questioning why is this happening? And God had to show me all the times when you was in darkness, you had your actions justified out of ignorance, a lack of knowledge, not knowing. My actions are seeds. Think about when you stole this and stole that and did this and did that. All your little sneaky ways, whatever you did. Nobody else ain't know what was going on. But the wheels of karma always turning. Everybody gonna have to face karma. Like it or not, whether you believe it or not, it's the same as reaping what you sow. What goes around comes around. However you want to process it, it's still a cycle. That it's a wheel of life. So we just got to think about our actions. Think about our thoughts. Think about our words we speak. The Bible say life and death in the power of the tongue. That means we have power. The word say call those things that be not as though they were. That means you can speak them. You can put those words out into the atmosphere in the universe, and then you have other forces working with it or against it. Because it's positive forces out there, but it's negative ones too. I think this is the concept the mass majority is missing. It's two powers operating. It's negative energy, it's positive energy. Forces of light, forces of darkness, two powers operating. And when you choose to be in the light, yeah, when darkness try to come up against you, as in opposition, adversity, whatever it is, doesn't mean it makes you exempt because you live in the light. But then that means Supernaturally, you got all this covering. Your faith now is out there. That's all we have. That's it at the end of the day. Because no one has a guarantee about the afterlife. But if you believe in a heaven and a hell, then you believe in an afterlife. Whether you have a visual, whether you know for certain how it's set up or how it goes, that's all we can do. It just hold on to what we believe. So at the end of the day, sit down and ask yourself. I mean, really, search your soul. What do you believe? And are you ready for higher truths? Because there's much more. In a world surrounded by uncertainty, we can be certain through our beliefs and our faith. So let's hold on to our faith. Reach beyond the break. This is JP. You've been listening to Soul Talk for your spirit walk. Stay blessed. Peace.